Hi, my name is Jonas. French house is a subgenre of house music that gained a lot of traction in the mid to late 90s. I used to call it filter house or filter disco myself, as these tracks make use of a lot of filtered disco samples, and it also has been called new disco. But nowadays I think most people will recognize this as French house. So why is it called French? Well, basically, most of the producers that really kicked off this genre were coming from the Paris scene or France in general. One of the most prolific producers at that time was Thomas Bangalter, who is well known, of course, as one half of the late Daft Punk, but he was also involved in Stardust. He did the track for Bob Sinclair, the Gin and Tonic, and many more things, of course. Besides Thomas, you had Motorbase, Cassius, Mojo, and many more. These were all producers that produced using the French touch. So let's get started. First we need to get some 70s vibes going on. I started with jamming a bit on the Arturia Rhodes emulation, the Stage 73V, and I came up with these chords. For the bass, we'll use the MS-20. This synth has played a role in Daft Punk tracks like Daft Punk, and it has the perfect nice dirty 70s sound we need. To accentuate that bass line, I'll use one of my custom Korg M1 patches. I'm not sure if the M1 played a big role in many French house productions, but it's a synth that is and was available in a lot of studios, so who knows, maybe it has been used here and there. I'll be using it anyways because it's a very nice gritty extra top end to this bass line. If we put these three elements together, we'll get this. Now we have the 70s vibes we need, we'll add some drums. In French house, a lot of different drum sounds are used actually. Sometimes it's samples of acoustic drums, sometimes it's loops, and sometimes it's even just plain old 909s. For this track, I'll use a TR-606 to play this pattern. And I'll add a little bit of 909 on top of that. And make sure you turn up that shuffle. It's very important to make these tracks groove. To finalize the beats, I added in an acoustic kick sample and layered it with the TR-606, and also added an acoustic hi-hat to accentuate some parts. And then as a final thing, I have this step filtered loop to give it a little bit of motion and extra accents. This is what they sound like. Now we have all of this, let's talk about mixing. This style is really made on the mixer. Basically it's a matter of using a lot of compression to get this radio-like in-your-face sound. The first compressor we encounter is on the Rhodes. It's used to actually lift up the silent parts, the reverb tail, when the chords are not playing. This creates a very direct and kind of pumping sound that is exactly the thing we want here. Let's listen without. And now let's enable the compressor. As you can hear, the reverb tail is pulled up quite a lot. Another compressor is used on the 606 kick. We don't really need very heavy or boomy kicks for this style, but we certainly want it to punch through the mix, and a good compressor always helps. So what we use is a relatively slow attack, and the release is, let's say, a little bit below medium. The threshold is quite low and the makeup gain is quite high. Combined with a high ratio, you get this very nice punchy kick sound. Without and with. Next, we'll send all the drums and bass to a group channel and put a very heavy compressor on top of that. This is what we call the parallel compression technique. So basically you have the original signal which gets mixed in with a very heavy compressed version of the same. And doing all the groups at once is a very typical house mixing technique. I'll start with the original sound first and then I'll slowly mix in the parallel compression group. You can hear the effect the best if you pay attention to the toms. They really get pumped up quite a lot when the parallel compression is mixed in, but also the overall signal is getting a little bit more pumpy. It is subtle, but not that subtle. And finally, on the master bus, I'm using a multiband compressor and a limiter to really get this final radio sound, the in-your-face sound that this French house genre really is known for. But we are still missing the filters. Well, what we could have done back in the day is put this whole loop back in a sampler again and use the filters of a sampler, or put it through an external filter, like for example the filters on the MS-20, or maybe something like a German filter bank. There were multiple options. Today I'm going to make my life a little bit easier and I'm going to use the built-in Cubase More filter. So what did I do? I took all the elements that need to be filtered, so that's going to be the bass, the Rhodes and the drums. All put them together in the same submix, and then I inserted this More filter. And then you can start doing things like this. I was digging through my old sample collection again and I came across this vocal hook that fits perfectly with the Rhodes chords if you pitch it up a little bit. For the people who are interested, this came from the Sample Pool Vox collection. This is the original version.
It makes you move, it makes you dance.
And playing it pitched up a little bit.
It makes you move, it makes you dance.
And if I put it in a track, it starts sounding like this.
It makes you move, it makes you dance. 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 It makes you move.
And in the same Sample Pool Vox collection, I found this short voice sample that I'm also going to use to accentuate the transitions.
What we're gonna do right here is go back.
I added a little bit of tape delay on it to give this dub effect. And there's only one element left. It's a laser sweep I created on the Korg MS-20. It's going to be used to announce the drop. And now we have all the elements together, it's time to get creative and build a track. This genre is really all about less is more. Especially because you're using this much heavy compression, it's going to be a big mess if you start layering on lots of different sounds. That's going to be a really messy mix that way. So it's a matter of going with a few good hooks and using them to full effect. Let's listen to the final result.
right here is go back.
And that's it again for today. If you want the music from this video or one of the previous videos in my channel, check out my Bandcamp. The link is somewhere here and in the description. And like always, if you want more, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell button if you want to be notified when a new video goes online. Bye bye.